Hey guys, my name is Summer and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, it is part 2 of my Foxbury Commons renovate and recreate build. I am focusing on the first floor of this student building in this part. So for a recap, if you didn't watch the first part, which I recommend you do because you see me build the exterior of this building, the first floor has a library, a study lounge, computer and research lab, and a cafeteria. So really the majority of this first floor, I really wanted to bring in light toned woods and really recreate a space that students would be able to work together, but also have some private spaces of their own. And right now I'm doing the library, so as you can see I'm using 3 different bookcases slash storage units to create the library. I really liked how each different furniture piece, I'm pretty sure came in different packs too, but I really love how they all work together. They're all that same light wood tone, and they kind of bring an industrial but contemporary feel to the space as well. I especially really like the IKEA looking shelf that's in the middle there. I think that actually came with Discovery University, but it actually might have came with the Moschino stuff pack. I'm not sure, but anyways, I really like that look. I thought it was perfect for this room. I've struggled a little bit with the color palette for this build. I knew I wanted to use lighter tone woods and also have that white and black feel to match the rest of the neighborhood. But I also wanted it to be comfortable, and I think that sometimes by using too much like high contrast, especially with a concrete floor, it can feel kind of sterile. So a little later in the video I try to bring a little bit more greenery to this build, which I will continue to build on as this building progresses and I move on to the 3rd and even maybe 4th part. Depends how long it takes me, I guess. So right now I'm just trying to find a rug that works, and we have a lot of rug choices in the game, but unfortunately I feel like there's still something missing. I think we have all these fun colors and patterns, but we don't really have a lot of simple rugs, like simple and not just even black and white, but other colors too. I think that would be a good opportunity to improve on the game by having just a little bit more diversity when it comes to decor objects. So here I put 2 of these sofas back to back to create one kind of modular piece with side tables on the end. And now I'm moving on to the study lounge area. I was playing around with creating these little alcoves with a high back bench seating, and in a second I throw a table in there too. This is actually something that my work has in our office, and I really like it, and I wanted to recreate it in The Sims, but I think I do end up changing it because with how the Sims game functions, it's hard for them to do certain tasks like homework in a booth with a small table room like that. So here is the cafeteria. I kind of laid out a few different table options that I thought would complement this build really well. Now I'm just playing with the different chairs, and I end up using this chair. I love this chair. I think it's from bowling night, and I kind of narrowed it down to these 2 glass tables. And so I wanted to just look at them for a little bit and get used to them and see what I thought would be visually more appealing in the space, because really they are very similar tables, but the one has like an X cross base, which I decide in a few minutes that I don't think works. Sorry, now we're back in the library. I thought that maybe a different flooring would be better for this room. but I was struggling with the wood tones, and I wanted all of these different rooms to have the same look and feel, so I wanted it to have the same flooring throughout. And I play a little bit with patterns and how I can make the space a little bit more interesting. So this is the wood floor that I ended up going with. I really like how light it is. It really complements the furniture in the library, and it also looks pretty good with these white chairs too, I think. So now I'm just doing the layout of this cafeteria. I wanted it to have enough seating for if you had like a study group, so all your Sims would be able to eat together. And I also wanted there to be a decent view of the courtyard that is outside. So I just threw in some windows around the corner like that. And now I'm furnishing the computer lab area / research lab. For this space, I really tried to push myself. I wanted to create sort of like a cubicle with these half walls, which you'll see me do for quite some time. I did like how it looked. I think it is a good idea, but I just don't think that this was necessarily the build for it, and you'll see why in a second. But I really like these glass desks. There's this similar wood tone color for the leg, which worked perfect, and I liked the warmth of the glass in this too. Okay, so here's where I started playing around with this whole panel idea, and in real life, I think when you have either an office or some kind of lab like this, it's really great to utilize cubicles because it allows the end user to focus better. But this is The Sims, so we don't have to be completely realistic or do what maybe the best solution would be. So I'm just playing around with a few different ways to do this, and I kept finding that the space was just getting really tight. The walls were a little bit wider than I think what the ideal width would be. And so you can see behind the desks that are against the wall, there's not very much space behind the chair and like the half wall or the panel. And I didn't like how that looked. I thought the room got really busy really fast, even though I really like how those panels look. I think they look so good, especially with that glass divider on top of them. But I was very determined to get this to work, and I really like how this carpet tile looks in here too. Every other tile I changed the direction, so it really did look like a 2x2 carpet tile, which I really like. And now I'm just kind of playing around with colors, and throughout the build I want to bring pops of red in, so just trying to figure out good ways to do that in this room. I love the red in these chairs. I think it's the perfect Foxbury red, but we don't really have a lot of paint swatches that go well with that chair. So I opted not to use it. I'll just stick to black and white. Here I'm still trying to get this whole panel system to work, and I thought I kind of had it figured out, or at least to get more desks in the room, but every time I placed a half wall like ahead of the stair, it kept deleting my stairs. I was getting frustrated, so I just opted not to do it and threw some desks against that back wall as well. And since that room was taking me so long to figure out the little cubicle situation, I decided to go back to the library, build on that a little bit more. Sometimes it helps me when I do a space and then I take a step back so I can really digest and think about the direction I want that room to be in. So that's kind of what I did here, deciding to throw pop a red in there as well. And then I really like these wall decor objects, how it kind of looks like the wall got a little scruffed up, which I think is totally reasonable in a sort of room like this where people may be accidentally kicking the back wall or the desks rubbing against the paint. And I spent a really long time in debug actually trying to find the city living murals that can be painted. I know that you can get like the square where your sim can go and paint a mural on there, but I wanted to find the completed ones because I didn't want to have to bring a sim in here to do that, but I thought that that would look really good since it's kind of like graffiti-esque, but unfortunately I wasn't able to find it, so I just put some posters in there. And I decided to bring more greenery into this room, so I kind of got rid of that lounge furniture and built like a little garden underneath the stairs. I end up doing that in the computer lab as well. I really love this idea. I think it turned out super pretty. The one thing I'm not sure of though is if these plants, like the outdoor plants I used and sized down, when seasons change, if those like wither away. So I guess I'll have to try that out, but hopefully they don't. And here is where I decided that those panels with the half walls was just not going to work, so I'm building this little garden under here too. And while editing, I actually noticed that I made the computer lab understair garden a little bit wider than I made the library, so I think I'm gonna go back and actually make the library one a little wider because I really like the size of the computer lab one. So here I decided to give up on the half wall idea. It just wasn't working, and I think this layout works a lot better than the layout that I had, but I found these really awesome wall dividers. And I can't remember, I think that they're from the Moschino stuff pack, but I really love this design on there. So I ended up using those to kind of divide off the space. I really like how this room turned out. So here are those little private enclaves that I was talking about before. So I added this little table in there because I think it's really cute, a really nice room if you have to go and take a phone call or just want to like study, not be disturbed. You could have your sim go in there and lock the door, but the space just wasn't working, and I thought maybe it would be better just to have like a little private office, whether it's like teachers or faculty people working in those rooms. Obviously in the Sims it would just be your Sims could go in there and study. And then here is the student lounge. So I wanted this to be a big space where large study groups could get together. I wanted to make use of these really nice long tables that came with Discovery University, and I ended up using these wall panels at first, but I think I end up switching them out later. But white tables, red stools, really clean, crisp look. I think it makes the whole building kind of work together a little bit better. And there is an entrance into this building from this room too, so. I ended up deciding that the tables with two of them next to each other was just a little bit too large for the footprint of this room, so I kind of overlaid them, which is why you see a little bit of like a glitch, I guess, in the tabletop surface when you move your camera around. It's really not as bad in game. If that's something that bothers you, you can go ahead and just move the tables out. I don't think they'll still be able to use the doors. I just didn't like how close they got personally. So I really wanted to add these hanging plants from the glass in this room, but when I sized them down, there was this big awful shadow hanging in the space, and I thought I could live with it, but even just building with it, I just really did not like how it looked. Here I'm just looking at debug for something that will work, but I ended up just going with these bamboo rods, bringing in the greenery as best as I could, but I like how that turned out. And then I ended up putting some pendants above there too, just bringing the whole space together. So here I'm just finding some wall decor that would nicely complement the space, and I decided I wanted to put a little coffee nook over here with a garbage can. And since this university is mostly focused on science and technology, I really liked the painting that looks like a bunch of little cells. So I ended up putting that on the wall instead and added this cute little community board above the coffee bar. And then I went into debug and added some cute little glasses and coffee mugs to the space. And then last but not least, I am doing the restroom. So I was trying to be really creative with the restroom, do it in a dynamic way by having the sinks on the other side of the stalls. So I was doing this because I don't like putting the bathroom mirrors directly in front of the stalls. But ultimately in the end I decided that it didn't super matter, and I also tried bringing in some greenery into the space too, and just decided it really wasn't working well. So I switched up this layout a couple different times. Really just trying to make the most use out of this space. And then I'm just adding a few final touches to the cafeteria by adding a menu board and this cute water wall thing. I'm not sure if it's actually an aquarium or not. I've never used it before. I'm just adding a few more decor items before we wrap it up, but make sure you stay tuned for the third part of this video. It might be the last part, but I'm not quite sure yet, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.